Why do we know what to do, but still don't do it? The answer is easy fear and doubt. Most of us don't fail because they don't know what to do. They fail because they don't do what they know. Think about it. How many books have you read? How many videos, seminars, or motivational speeches have you heard? You may already know what it takes to get healthier, richer, and happier. You may already know that discipline is crucial, that consistency creates results, that small steps create big changes. And yet, knowing is not the same as doing. This is the silent gap, the space that can't be seen between information and action. And it is in this gap where most dreams die. A person knows they ought to exercise, but they don't. They know they ought to save money, but they don't. They know they ought to speak up, take chances, pursue opportunities, but they don't. It is not ignorance that kills dreams. It is hesitation. It is delay. It is the paralysis of overthinking. Now ask yourself, what do I know but not do? Be honest, because that is where your dreams are stuck right now, in the gap. The issue is not knowledge. The issue is taking knowledge to action. And here's the truth. Life does not pay for what you know. Life pays for what you apply. 1,000 plans are useless if you do not implement even one. A great idea is you, and intentions, however good, will never alter your reality unless they are accompanied by action. You need to recall this. Clarity without action is wasted potential. Knowledge without implementation is merely entertainment. Think about all the dreamers you've met. People with incredible ideas, amazing talent, and beautiful visions. Most of them are stuck exactly where they were, because they never crossed the gap between knowing and doing. But here is the good news. You are not fated to remain in that gap. You can fill it. You can cross it. And the bridge is constructed of one thing: action commitment. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect time. The perfect time never arrives. Action generates momentum. Momentum generates results, and results fuel belief. So now, as you hear these words, ask yourself, what is something I already know I should be doing? Don't think about 10 things. Don't overcomplicate it. Just one. And when this audiobook is finished, do it. Don't wait. Don't delay. Don't let another day go by with your dream lingering in the gap. Because the longer you wait, the more difficult it is. And with each day you put it off, your dream becomes less real. The space between knowing and doing is where dreams tend to vanish. But that doesn't have to be where your dream vanishes. So why is it so difficult to bridge the gap? Fear whispers, what if you fail? Doubt whispers, what if you are not good enough? Procrastination whispers, maybe later, maybe tomorrow. And they hold you together in the space. Reflect on one moment when you had a chance but didn't seize it. Perhaps it was public speaking. Perhaps it was opening that business. Perhaps it was talking to someone you'd always wanted to meet. What held you back? It was not lack of information. It was fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of not succeeding. Fear of being embarrassed. But here is the truth. Failure is not the enemy. Inaction is the enemy. Rejection is not the enemy. Regret is the enemy. You will never think your way into confidence. You will never think your way into courage. Courage shows up only when you take the first step. So how do you combat fear? By doing the very thing you are scared of. By demonstrating to yourself, through action, that you are capable. I want to share something with you that is powerful. Your brain learns by doing, not by reading about it. Reading about how to swim will never give you the ability to swim. Watching videos about exercising will never get you strong. Knowledge nourishes your mind, but action conditions your body, your habits, your character, and doubt. Doubt is abolished by evidence. The more you do, the more evidence you acquire that you are capable of doing difficult things. Every small win eradicates doubt. Every try. But procrastination, that quiet assassin of dreams, is the most destructive of all. Because it is so innocuous, you say to yourself, "I'll begin tomorrow, I'll do it later," and you think it. But later never comes. And one morning you wake up, years have slipped away, and the dream that you once cherished is gone. The antidote to procrastination is urgency. Tell yourself every day time is not promised. With each passing moment that you delay, the gap widens. With each passing day that you wait, your dream succumbs a little more. So take imperfect action. Make messy progress. Begin before you are ready, because waiting for perfect is just another form of hiding. Now, let's discuss the solution. If knowing is not enough, and fear is holding you back, how do you ever get across? So begin small. Don't attempt to do it all in one go. Create momentum through one steady habit. Success is not constructed in huge bounds. It is constructed in daily steps. You don't need to know it all before you begin. You simply need to begin. Every step forward illuminates the next step. So practice this. When you are afraid, take one tiny step anyway. When you are uncertain, recall your past successes. When you are complacent, say to yourself, discipline over feelings. And most importantly, close the gap now. Don't create. If you read a principle, do it today. If you learn something new, test it now. The sooner you do, the less gap there is. Because life doesn't get different by knowing. Life gets different by doing. Now picture this. What if you lived each day doing what you already know how to do? What if you never waited again? Never hesitated again? Never procrastinated again? Discipline is doing what you must do even when you don't feel like it. It is coming to work for your goals whether you feel like it or not. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline remains. Motivation starts you off. Discipline carries you through. Think of every great achiever in history. They didn't succeed because they always felt inspired. They succeeded because they acted with discipline day after day, until their actions became habits and their habits became results. Fascinating, and just did it. How different would your life look in 6 months? In 1 year? In 5 years? Your future self is constructed by today's actions, not intentions, not dreams, not plans. So don't let your dream die in the gap. Cross it, live it, build it. Because the gap between knowing and doing is where most dreams vanish. But it can also be the place where your dream takes flight if you act. So don't just know, don't just dream, don't just plan. Most consider the opposite of success to be failure, but it isn't. The opposite of success is inaction. Failure at least gets you moving. Inactivity only holds you back. Let's drill this down. When you are met with an opportunity, 3 voices begin to whisper to you. The first one is fear. Fear tells you, what if you fail? What if you get rejected? What if you embarrass yourself? Fear always attempts to safeguard you by keeping you in the safety zone. But that safety zone is also the stuck zone. The second voice is that of doubt. Doubt tells you, who are you to attempt this? You are not prepared. You are not clever enough. You are not sufficiently experienced. Doubt is the whisper that leads you to underestimate yourself. And then there is the third voice, procrastination. It doesn't yell, it doesn't scare you. It just says, quietly, not now, maybe tomorrow, maybe later. And because it makes sense, you listen. You put it off, and putting it off becomes a habit. These three voices, doubt, fear, procrastination, they are the keepers of the gap. Their work is to prevent you from bridging the gap from knowing to doing. And if you don't confront them, they win. But here is the reality. Fear is not a stop sign. Fear is merely a notification that you are venturing into new lands. Fear is evidence. Consider if you were only doing what felt comfortable. Your life would never grow. Failure as a whole is not perpetual. It is feedback. Each and every time you make a move and fall, you learn. Each mistake teaches you how to improve the next time. Think of a child learning to walk. They don't study walking in a book. They don't attend a seminar on walking techniques. They try, they fall, they try again, and through action, they master it. That's how growth works in every area of life. Now let's discuss doubt. Doubt is killed by evidence. You don't debate with doubt, you refute it. Every time you act, you amass evidence that you can. And the more evidence you have, the less doubt exists. If you've ever visited the gym for the first time, you understand the strength of this. To begin with, you question yourself. You think, I am not strong. I do not belong here. But after a week, after a month, you feel the small improvements. You are stronger. You observe improvements. That improvement is proof, and that proof silences doubt. And procrastination. The only thing that can defeat it is urgency. You need to stop fooling yourself with later. Later's a robber. Later steals your strength. Later steals your chance. Later steals your life. Consider this, in a year's time, you will get there. The question is, will you get to the place you set out to, or will you get somewhere else? On the whim of procrastination, the solution is straightforward. Shrink the timeline. Rather than asking, can I do this one day? Ask, what can I accomplish in the next 10 minutes? Procrastination feeds on large, daunting objectives. But when you break down the objective to the smallest action, now it is achievable. Rather than say, I'll write a book, say, I'll write 1 page today. Rather than say, I'll get fit, say, I'll do 10 push-ups now. Small actions gain momentum. Momentum kills procrastination. Now let's tie it all together. Fear, doubt, procrastination. They never go away, but you can take action in spite of them. When fear appears, treat it as a sign of expansion. When doubt appears, gather small wins to disprove it. When procrastination appears, miniaturize the goal and begin now. Because the gap will never close by itself. It only closes when you take action. And here is something to keep in mind. Action creates. Folks assume that motivation precedes action, but it doesn't. Action generates motivation. When you do one thing, you feel good. That good feeling energizes you to do another thing. And before you know it, you've got some momentum going. Don't wait until you are ready. You will never be ready. Nobody has ever been ready. You become ready by doing. Let me ask you a question. If you continue listening to fear, doubt, and procrastination, where will you be in 1 year? In 5 years? Will you still be sitting at the edge of the gap, watching your dream recede into the horizon? Or will you take the final step, walk across the gap, and make that dream a reality? The choice is yours. Remember, fear will try to frighten you, doubt will try to make you small, and procrastination will try to put you off. But none of them have power unless you give them power. Each glorious success story you look up to is just someone who moved despite those voices. They didn't wait. They didn't hesitate. They did it anyway. And that is what makes dreamers vanish and doers succeed. So here's your challenge. The next time you experience fear, doubt, or procrastination, don't run. Don't wait. Don't think too much. Take one step, no matter how tiny. Because one step is all it takes to bridge the gap. Let's discuss discipline. Discipline is misinterpreted. People believe that discipline is punishment or misery. But authentic discipline is freedom. It is the choice to make decisions today that your future self will appreciate. Consider it. Without discipline, you are a slave to moods, by distractions, by habits that keep you stuck. But with discipline, you are the master of your actions, regardless of how you feel at any moment. That mastery is what closes the gap between knowing and doing. Discipline is making the daily choice to respect your vision more than your excuses. Let me illustrate. There are two individuals who both desire to write a book. The first one waits for inspiration. They reply, "I'll write when I feel like it." Weeks go by. Months go by. They're still waiting. The second person creates a rule. "I will write 30 minutes a day, come hell or high water." There are days when they don't want to, but they persist. At the end of a year, they have a completed manuscript. Who brought the dream into being? Not the talented one, the disciplined one. That is the secret. Dreams don't vanish because people aren't talented. They vanish because people aren't consistent. And here is the great thing. Discipline is not innate. It is a skill. It increases with practice. The more you practice it, the more powerful it gets. So how do you develop it first? Begin small. Don't try to do it all in one night. Choose one thing that brings you closer to your dream and do it every day. Perhaps it is writing a page. Perhaps it is one sales call. Perhaps it is 15 minutes of exercise. Make it easy, but make it every day when you can see your streak, your progress, your little wins. They encourage you to continue. Third, establish responsibility. Inform someone of your goal. Share your dedication. Knowing that someone else sees you can provide the motivation you need when your enthusiasm dwindles. And last, but not least, celebrate discipline. Don't just celebrate the grand results. Celebrate the fact that you showed up, that you took action, that you were true to your promise to yourself. That is how discipline turns into identity. You no longer say, "I am trying to write." You now say, "I am a writer." And that leads us to one of the strongest truths of all. You become what you do on a daily basis. If you continuously succumb to fear, doubt, and procrastination, you get stuck. If you consistently make small, disciplined movements, you become unstoppable. Let's do a quick exercise now. Close your eyes and visualize the version of yourself who has already accomplished the dream you desire. Visualize them in great detail. How do they walk? How do they talk? What kind of thoughts do they think? What are their habits? So now ask yourself, what is one thing that version of me would do today? And then go do it. Step into that version of you right now, because here is the reality. The space between knowing and doing isn't just where most dreams vanish. It is also where new versions of you are. Every single step you take is not just bringing you closer to your dream. It is defining who you are. Let's be real. Life will try to test you. Discipline will not always be comfortable. There will be times when quitting seems appealing. There will be times when your excuses sound believable. But in those times, recall the following. If your dream is worth fighting for, the pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret lasts forever. Years in the future, when you are looking back on this time in your life, will you be glad you took action, or will you regret not having begun sooner? That decision is up to you depending on the choices you make today. Here's the final challenge. Then stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop waiting for approval. The gap will not fill itself. You have to fill it. Act today. No matter how little, no matter how imperfect. Do it scared. Do it uncertain. Do it messy. But do it. Because action creates momentum. Momentum creates discipline, and discipline creates dreams. You already possess everything you need inside of you. The only question is, will you use it? The chasm between knowing and doing is where most dreams fade away. But it does not have to be yours. Bridge the gap. Act now and see your dreams turn into reality.